So something that I think really defines this century is the advancement of technology that we've seen within the past 30-ish years. Life today is completely different from life 30 years ago, and one of my favorite examples to highlight just how different everything is with this clip from the movie Hidden Figures. And in the clip, you can see just how much space these computers took up, and their only function was to compute math problems. But today we now have these, which are significantly smaller, and they also can create graphs based on our input. But that's not what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about these. Cell phones and laptops have really changed how we operate in daily life, and they have much more functions than those computers did back in the 60s. One of these functions, which isn't necessary for daily life but is still used by millions of people on the daily, is social media. I'm talking like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff. Every day, people post whatever they like onto their social media platforms, and there are thousands and thousands of posts and updates being made by the second. Just to give you some perspective, there are roughly about 500 million tweets sent and about 95 million Instagram posts being made per day. This just goes to show how much of a role social media does play in people's daily lives. With all that said though, what I wanted to know was, how is social media being used, and if it's being used in a positive manner? And the short answer of that is no. But let's take a look as to why I think that social media is having a negative impact and why I think it can be quite toxic. Now, don't get me wrong, I love using social media, and some of the closest connections that I've had with people were through social media. With that said, I've also seen many of the bad sides social media has had to offer. One of those sides is the impact that social media has on self-esteem. Some of the ways that people use social media is to follow and keep up with their favorite celebrities. You get to see dozens and dozens of pictures of celebrities flaunting either their bodies, their money, or just their lifestyle, and while it's extremely cool to see, this is also part of the problem. People are constantly exposing themselves to these lives that celebrities are living in, and it sets a high and unrealistic standard for them to follow. When people see these kinds of posts, they may think that they want what that person has, such as they want that object in the post, or they want the perfect body, or that kind of money, or just that kind of perfect life. But these posts make people forget that there's no such thing as a perfect life. Sure, someone may have a good life, but there's no such thing as a perfect one, as that's something that's completely subjective to that person's life and how they see it alone. People forget about this to the point where they feel the need to edit either their bodies or their faces or their money or words or even just their standards of living in order to fit that current perfect mold. And when someone's social media life drastically differs from their actual one, there's bound to be inner turmoil as they may forget what kind of life they're living, and it hurts when they come back to reality. You can actually Google social media and self-esteem and see dozens of research that do support this idea, but when I talk about this, I'm also speaking from personal experience. Another reason why I think that social media is quite toxic is because of the way that it's used sometimes. Now, as embarrassing as it is to admit out loud, I'm part of the K-pop and the cartoon fandoms of Twitter, and I love being a part of these communities. But that said, I've also seen many nasty and horrible things that have been done in these communities. And I think one of the worst cases is from a couple years ago when I followed an artist and she received many hate comments because she apparently drew a character too thin. And even though she took down the art, the comments still kept coming and coming in, and they became worse. They range from things such as, you're an awful human being, or that you deserve to die, or you should kill yourself, and one day she did kill herself. And this is just one case of cyberbullying, but this happens almost every day for thousands of people. Don't even get me started on fan wars. People automatically hate others because they listen or support other artists or groups or are part of certain communities on Twitter or all these social media platforms. And in many cases, fan wars do lead to cyberbullying. And it's times like these where I think that people truly do abuse social media and deviate from its true intent. I think that social media is something that can be beautiful and bring many people together, as it's done for me many times. I think it's time that people change, and they change their ways that they use social media. We need to stop being so ruthless and vicious and horrible to other people online. Just because we can hide behind a screen does not mean that our words are less impactful online. We have the potential to build and develop so many communities that are based around love and support for others, and that's something that's hard to find these days. So I encourage you to use social media for its true intent, to connect to other people. And in these days where we're stuck in quarantine and stuck inside of our houses all day, we're using social media more than ever, so now is the time to start building people up rather than tearing them down online. We have the ability to connect to thousands of people with just the touch of our fingertip, but something that's even easier to do than that is to just be kind to others. Change starts with you, so I hope you leave this video today wanting to be a much more kinder and thoughtful person online. Let me know what you guys have to say on this, and I look forward to hearing your response. Thank you.